Imagine this. It's the end of the month, you're sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through your bank transactions, and you feel that familiar wave of guilt. There it is again, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and a couple Amazon purchases you barely remember making. And you think to yourself, this is why I can't get ahead. I've gotta cut out the little stuff. But then, the mortgage payment hits your inbox, and the car payment, and the insurance bill. And suddenly it becomes painfully clear. It's not the lattes that are suffocating you. It's the life decisions. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most people don't derail their financial future with small habits. They derail it with major purchases. The house they stretched for, the car they financed too long, the degree they overpaid for. These decisions lock people into payments that follow them for years. Most of us think small, but money problems almost always start big. Today we're going to talk about the 3 decisions that have the power to either set you up for decades of peace or bury you in decades of stress. Buying a car, buying a house, and buying an education. We'll walk through what we recommend, what we've seen go wrong, and how to make major purchases with wisdom instead of pressure. Because if you can get the big things right, everything else becomes a whole lot easier. Welcome to Plan to Prosper, where we exist to honor God by helping faithful servants steward their finances wisely and build wealth that endures for generations. All right, I couldn't help but notice you texting in the middle of my cold opening there, but
I wasn't texting.
We're here for another episode of Plan to Prosper, and you're barely locked in.
I was reading my notes and couldn't remember what I did, so I was calculating.
Okay. All right, well, whatever.
Calculator.
Here we are, another episode, talking about major purchases, the big things in life that we all have to deal with in one way or another at one time or another, or multiple times or another.
Where am I? Are we doing a podcast right now?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. Lock in, man.
Put me to sleep.
Come on. Big things.
Yeah, big things. What are big things?
Houses,
cars,
college.
We both got a car, right? You got a car this year, right?
I did, yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I can't stand years where I have to get a car.
What'd you get?
Kia Carnival.
Yeah. They seem nice.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Good. Yeah, we got a minivan too. It was used, very used Honda Odyssey, but it's very nice. And it's been a big upgrade for us. Schlepping kids around in that instead of a Toyota Prius is a big upgrade.
A lot of room.
Much more room. So this is something that I feel like you see a lot is I don't want to just always get on here and talk about this one guy. So I'm not even going to say his name, but there's a very prominent financial guy who will talk about getting radically serious about your budget. It's like you cut out the lattes, you cut out the Starbucks, you cut out all the eating out. And don't get me wrong, especially on the eating out stuff, that can add up and get expensive. But I think our argument here today is not that those things are, it's not wrong to get serious about your monthly budget and cutting out things where you can. But I think our thesis here today is that the thing that will derail your financial life more than anything, more quickly than anything, are the major decisions you make when it comes to those 3 things in particular: buying a car, buying a house, or financing a college education.
Mm-hmm. Does that person rhyme with Rave Lanzi?
I'm not going to confirm nor deny that, but yes. We're trying to figure out some wisdom. We want to dive into what we would consider wise decisions in how to handle these things, because we all have to do it. You can't drive a car forever. It's going to die and it's going to come up. And that's one of the things we talk about in our financial planning is we just have to account for this potential major purchase in your life. We don't want to draft a whole financial plan with all these assumptions and then forget to put that in there. And then the time comes 2 years later, we're like, hey, our car just died. We need a new one. It's going to cost $30,000. And we're like, ooh, we didn't think about that. So
I don't want to derail us, but when do Teslas die? Do they have an expected?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I feel like they haven't been around long enough for us to have historical data on this.
It's true.
So I don't know.
They just knock parking garages over.
What?
You haven't heard that theory?
No.
I don't even know if it's a theory. Wasn't there there was a big parking garage in New York or something that came down, I don't know, within the last couple of years. And the theory is that it potentially could happen more because Teslas are so heavy.
It just collapsed?
Yeah.
Man, buildings in New York, what is with them?
I don't know.
It's unreal. Anyway, when it comes to your budget, I think it's important to look at everything, with occasionally with a fine-tooth comb and look through all the ways that you can cut expenses and make sure that you're being efficient with your finances. And we've talked about that on the podcast before, being intentional with your money. But I am not of the persuasion that is the key towards financial success, is like getting so strict with your budget and making sure you never eat out, you never grab the Starbucks, you never grab DoorDash, you never do any, you name it, like spontaneous thing that costs some money, and that's the key to financial success. I don't think that that's what it is. I think big decisions play a much bigger role in this.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I think if you willy-nilly go out and get a Starbucks or get a DoorDash and there's not discipline, I think it just naturally leads to like, oh, every day you're just going out and getting something. And then it's going to add up, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you should feel bad if tomorrow morning on your way to work, you grab a coffee and you're like, oh, this is going to derail my budget. Like, that's not true. And
I think your decision-making here in these 3 categories in particular that we're going to talk about today will give you the freedom to be more flexible with your monthly budget with those types of things. Like if you've overextended yourself on your house and your car, and you also have like $100,000 of student loan debt, then the DoorDash is going to be a significant part of your monthly budget because you have very little left over at this point. Right. So what we want to talk about today is how to prevent yourself from that lifestyle where you're heavily leveraged in all this debt, basically.
Yeah.
And you have very little left over. Because then the Starbucks does it has a huge impact on it because you have so little to work with.
Right. I did run just a short little exercise in my head, / with the help of data. The average Starbucks latte is $5.50. Mm-hmm. If you did that 30 times a month, got 30 of them in a month, you're paying $165 to Starbucks. The average mortgage balance in the U.S. is currently $250,000. And I'm saying all this, I'm not even sure what to think of it at the end. But so average mortgage balance, $250,000.
That's actually lower than I would have thought.
Me too. Yeah, that was surprising. If you're paying 5% interest a month on $250,000, it would be principal and interest would be $1,342 for a 30-year mortgage, 6% per month. So 6% interest rate on the mortgage would be $1,495. The difference is $157, which is real close to buying a Starbucks every day.
So what's your point? That the interest rate makes a big difference?
I said in the middle, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my point is, but I just thought it was the interest, like you've got to buy a lot of lattes. Do you think anybody really does 30? Like I feel like
maybe some people do, but no.
Yeah. You've got to buy a lot of lattes to get to that difference in interest rate.
All right, that's interesting. And the thing is, you can't control the interest rate the cards you're dealt.
Right.
That is what it is. Whenever you buy the house, you're kind of stuck with that until rates lower and you have the ability to maybe refinance or something.
When I bought a house, I think we got quoted at 5.5%. But like not everything was final, and I think it was 2 days later we went to pull the trigger, and at that point it was like 6.15%.
You're kidding me?
No, it was,
dude, that's crazy,
ridiculous.
So is that
wait, what happened?
Is that what you ended up getting into, or were
we paid for points, and we are at 5.75.
Okay, still better than they are now.
Yeah,
but man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and that is like the quite frankly, the frustrating thing about like the housing market in particular is not only have interest rates been climbing for the past few years, but housing prices have too. And so it's homeownership has become more difficult in the past couple of years for first-time home buyers that are trying to get into a house. It's just a more difficult thing to navigate right now because prices are high. They are starting to settle a little bit, but interest rates have been high too. So it's made what we're going to talk about later when we get to the housing thing with some of the principles that we would encourage you to think through when making this decision. Well, if you were buying a house 10 years ago, that would have been, you would have had a lot more flexibility than you do now. And that's why I think, and we'll, again.
20 years. I bought my first house in 2017, so 8 years ago, and it was still a hard market.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't as prices were much lower, but so I guess it's different in that case. But I remember we bought our first house without me even looking at it, just because people were like houses were flying off the market in hours.
Do you remember what interest rates were at the time?
Our first we got at 4%.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what makes this market so different.
Right. So yeah, you might not have as much competition because it's a lot to deal with, but it's still, this
is more on the supply side.
More money, yeah.
Are you looking?
I've got Zillow notifications ramped up, so I'm always looking.
Does it seem like more houses are on the market now?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to say for sure. Definitely seems like prices are stabilizing. They're not getting as out of hand, but
you're in like the 5 million plus.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
I do occasionally do that. I'll go on Zillow and I'll find the $6 million house and I'll show it to my wife and she'll just like roll her eyes at me. She's like, "Why are you torturing yourself like this?" I'm like, "Can a guy dream?"
Yeah.
You know, that was a thing during COVID. I remember hearing about like Zillow, almost like doom scrolling, but on Zillow, where you're just like literally just like looking at the nicest houses you possibly can and just dreaming of a life there.
Because that's all you could do.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just in your house.
Yeah.
I want the house with a basketball court inside.
Yeah, right. All right. So what we're talking about debt in all of these things. There will be one situation where it's not debt per se, but this is how we can make wise decisions with the debt that we're taking on. You hear a lot about like good debt or whatever. I don't know how you feel about that term, but we'll talk about all of that.
Yeah, I like the term productive debt.
Okay. All right. We'll cross that bridge in a little bit. All right, we're going to talk about 3 things: cars, houses, student loans. So let's start with cars.
I have a little game for you.
Okay.
All right, cars. What do you think the average American owes on a car?
Ooh, it's probably more than I want to think. I wanted to first say like 10 grand, but it might be more than that.
Just over 24 grand.
That's bad.
What about a house?
Well, you told me that it was 250.
Yeah. Student loans.
I'll say 50.
You're close. 42,670 based on the source I found.
All right. The source being ChatGPT.
I asked it for sources though, and I clicked on the sources. I can't remember what the source was that ChatGPT found.
Okay. It's just a self-reference. It's ChatGPT referencing itself. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
The other real quick debt that I've seen, I went to a Christian school and the motto was ring by spring. Everybody was getting engaged. I saw quite a few financed engagement rings.
Did you finance yours?
No. I got real lucky. My grandmother had her grandmother's diamond that she vowed to give her first grandson, and that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I paid like between $100 and $200 for a band and put the diamond in.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I did finance mine, but I could have paid for it in cash. At the time, they offered a 0% credit card at the jewelry place that I went to, and I was like, sure. I mean, I'm not going to pay anything in interest, so it doesn't really benefit me to pay it all right now. And I paid it off within like
until
a year.
You forget.
Yeah.
I've done that quite a few times at Kohl's.
Really? Oof. I don't forget.
I would get, especially when Danielle and I were dating and I didn't have much money, I would get her like some piece of jewelry and they'd be like, "Oh, if you put it on the Kohl's credit card, it's 20% off." And then 6 days would go by and I'd be like, "Oh, I never paid it off."
Dude, Kohl's was the Kohl's credit card was my introduction to credit cards. And I was in like high school or like maybe early college, and I just lived near a Kohl's, so that's why I got it. And they were offering like the discounts, like if you sign up for that, you get 20% off, all that stuff. So I signed up for it.
You got a little scratch off thing.
And I realized quickly that no matter how much I bought, my minimum payment was only $40 a month. And I remember thinking, I was like, this is basically like a $40 membership to a club where I get unlimited access to clothes or whatever I want. I can just keep buying and buying and buying. And I was like half joking in my mind, but I was also like, what's stopping me from just buying as much as I want and just always making minimum payments if that's all they're going to require me to pay? I before I only racked up like $200 worth of debt on it before I was like, I can't do that. I got to stop this. And I paid it off and I never used it again. But
I'm sure plenty of people have that mindset though.
Yeah, I know. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because that is the big thing with cars is that I want to stress is don't get fooled by the monthly payment. I feel like I see these commercials all the time, these drive time commercials that they're like, they've got this fancy app and there's this slider thing where you can like extend the life of the term and it changes how much your monthly payment is. And the people in the commercial are getting so excited because they're seeing their monthly payment get lower and lower and lower. That is not the right attitude to have when buying a car, is my conviction. What say you?
The tagline of this podcast is going to be, don't do what Logan does.
All right.
So the most recent car purchase I had, I don't even remember how many months we have to pay it off. Historically, and we already have pay off a lot faster than what the term.
Minimum.
Yeah. I just like I get tricked by the psychology of the lower payment.
Sure.
I love the lower payment required, but then still trying to pay it off as fast as I can.
Okay. That's fair. And I think what we want to talk about, because the traditional financial wisdom, what'd you call them, Rave Bamsey?
Something like that.
Of the Rave Bamseys of the world will say buy your cars in cash every time, without fail. 15-year mortgage every time without fail. I think we're seeing in this day and age, the way with inflation and everything that we're dealing with, that is really, really difficult, if not impossible, for the majority of people, especially early in their wealth building process. If they're early in their careers, early in their family building, kids are expensive. There's a lot of things that are tugging at their attention and their wallets. Buying a car in cash, that's not going to like just kill your family and be safe. Like that's really, really difficult to do. So we want to provide principles for different types of vehicles that you might look at and what you could do within each of those and still have some sound financial principles behind it. So what I mean by that is, I guess let's start with, before we tackle those, let's talk about leasing cars. Because sometimes clients will ask us, like, is it better to lease or is it better to buy? Or better to finance, better to lease? I don't know if you have a strong conviction about leasing, but to me it feels just like, if you're okay with having a car payment forever and you know, like you have plenty of cash flow to afford it and you like really new cars and reliable cars that you're basically going to replace, like, and you're not going to buy it out at the end of your 3-year lease or whatever, you're just going to do another one, then it might work for some certain people. But I don't think it's the route that most people should take.
Yeah. I also think that sometimes you just don't realize what you're actually signing up for. Like, they have mileage limits. I don't think my family could ever, because we have family all over the place.
Right.
We couldn't abide by the annual mileage limit. As you said, I don't like the fact that essentially the car payment never goes away. Right. I love paying off. I mean, I love not having a car payment. Yeah. But when I do, it feels so good to pay it off, and then you just start saving that money that you were putting to a car. It's really hard to break the lease if for some reason you need to. And they're also they'll get you for like wear and tear stuff sometimes. Yeah. They'll charge you for that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of leases.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have really reliable mileage, like you don't drive it a ton, you just need something to get to work and you like the newness of the car.
Can't really do the customizations to the car. Yeah. There's just a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wouldn't recommend it in general. If it's something that you're like seriously considering, we can give more specific advice than that. But in general, I would say leasing is probably not the wisest thing to do.
And I think one of the perceived benefits is essentially no down payment. But these days I feel like there's so many places that are like, oh, 0 down, blah, blah, blah. Like all the car commercials where you're actually buying the car 0 down. So I think that perceived benefit is kind of gone now as well.
Yeah. I feel like this time of year, so like it's Christmas time and you see commercials and there's always like car commercials with like a big red bow on it. And I'm like, who buys cars for Christmas? Is this a thing or is it just all a marketing ploy to try to
I've never seen on Christmas a car in a driveway with a bow on it.
Me neither. I mean, that would be a nice gift.
Yeah.
But
also, who spends that much for Christmas? I'm sure plenty of people do.
Sure. So anyway, all right. So leasing, you're never going to own the car. It's just you're signing up for payments for life. If you like that, if you're okay with that, maybe. But you want to keep those payments as low as you can because you're locking yourself in forever on it, essentially. I mean, you could buy it out if you wanted to, but it would still be, unless you paid in cash, you would still be paying for it over a term. So, not a great option. Okay, but buying a car, there's different types of cars to buy.
Yeah.
You can buy a brand new car, buy a used car. So we'll break it down into 3 categories. There's kind of a brand new car, a low mileage used car, and then a higher mileage used car. And in my mind, so I came up with what I felt like were sound principles in each of these. Instead of just like a one size fits all, like you have to, there's one, I've heard financial advisors say like you should put 20% down.
On a car?
Yeah. Don't lease it for more than 3-4 years and make sure the payment is X amount of your income or whatever. And it's like, that's what's applied to no matter what car it is. If you abide by that works.
Okay.
I think we should be more flexible because not all cars are created equal.
Right.
And we've talked about this already. A brand new car, let's start there, is generally, but not always, but generally going to be more reliable than a used car. Certainly a used car with a lot of miles already on it.
Right.
Because cars, let's just use $100,000, 100,000 miles as the benchmark. If you're starting at 0, you've got 100,000 miles to drive before the car maybe starts encountering more issues or eventually dies or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have less risk technically associated with a new car in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The one thing that I can't stand though is and no judgment to car lovers. I know some people love cars and talk about cars and look at cars. But I can't stand the depreciation. I can't stand cars because of the depreciation. You buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, that thing's already like 60% of its value.
Right. Yeah. So that's the worst. One of the bigger downsides with new cars is how fast the depreciation happens. That doesn't happen with used cars. The depreciation, it happens, but it's much slower because it's already been used. So the biggest hit has already been absorbed by the previous owner. So I say that if you're buying a car, brand new, try to make sure that your loan term is no more than 5 years. Because you can maybe 7 years. I'll add that caveat because I feel like when I bought a car, I was buying a very used car, and they were like, most people. The salesman was like, "What loan term do you want?" Most people do 7 years, and I was like, "No, like I do not want this.
It's not going to last that long."
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want my car to die and still be making payments on it.
Yeah.
With a new car, that's less of a risk.
Right.
So you can extend that loan term a little bit longer and not feel like you're going to end up still making payments for potentially years on it with a car that's already gone.
Yeah.
But I say...
Yeah, I bought a brand new car. My loan term is more than 5 years.
Yeah. With that, I say make that monthly payment no more than, 5% of your income. So calculate your income, multiply it by 0.05 and divide that by 12, and that's what your monthly payment should be.
Yeah. So let's just say you make $100,000. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right.
$5,000 a year.
So
$600
gross. Okay. So yeah. So is it $600 a month?
Yeah, I did that right. Right.
100,000.
5,000 is 5%.
Yeah.
Divide that by 12 is $600.
It's $417.
Wow. What's six?
I did this yesterday, and I was like, wait, did I not do my calculator right?
I'm bad at math. When I hear 5 times 12 is, I did it the opposite way. $500 times 12 is $6,000, and I was getting it mixed up because I should have worked backward. Yeah. I
thought my notes were wrong.
I'm dumb. Yeah. Don't listen to me ever is the point of the story.
Unless he's doing a financial plan because he's great at them.
Thanks. Clearly not with monthly payments, so double check those maths. 5% of your income, $417 a month if you're making $100,000.
Yeah.
That seems like a reasonable car payment.
Yeah.
I hear people with $600-$700 car payments. That seems like a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're making $200,000 a year or more, like that's a more reasonable payment for you.
Yeah.
So it's all based on your income. Try to keep it within 5%. Because once that's paid off, then you have that back. You have that money back in your pocket to be able to start saving again.
And does that include everything?
Like,
well, so they always try to get you with a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah.
Get this warranty, get that warranty. The only one that I sometimes do is gap insurance.
Okay.
Do you ever do that?
No.
That's where if like your car's worth half of what you owe on it, and it's in an accident, and you're in an accident and total the car, you still owe the money. The gap insurance basically wipes out the. My understanding is it basically just wipes out the difference essentially.
Does that protect? Like, would your regular car insurance not provide enough typically to be able to cover?
Yeah, they're gonna look at what the car was worth when it was in an accident.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I never do the warranties.
Yeah.
I like really considered it when I bought my last car. Then I was doing all the math and I was like, okay, I'm going to be paying this much extra over the course of this warranty. If I just save that, which was substantial enough that I was like, I'm willing to take on this risk that I'm going to save all this money instead. And if I have a repair that costs more than whatever that was, which was like tens of thousands of dollars by the end of it, because, and I was like, I'm willing to take on that risk that I'm not going to have a payment, a repair that is more than that in the next 5 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was willing to take on that risk.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it is kind of all in. That's what I would say is that payment, whatever you end up with, warranty and all,
okay,
5% of your income. Yeah, new cars lose value the fastest. So trying to keep your payment a little bit lower, even you're extending the loan term, so it's lower automatically than if you were to do like a shorter term loan. But you kind of limit the depreciation a little bit, that hit that you take. So yeah. Used car, in this case, we're gonna go with like a low mileage used car, and low mileage we're considering under like 60,000 miles.
I think every used car I've ever bought has been over 60,000 miles.
Mine was. The first car I bought was under. And that's the one I still drive, like not my family car, but just like my commuter car.
You bought it with a Kohl's credit card?
Yeah, pretty much. I did buy it in cash. It had like 30,000 miles on it. So that was a pretty good decision at the time. I am still driving it. And
how long ago?
2019. So I've had it for 6 years now.
Yeah. That's great.
Still running well. Still hasn't hit 100,000 miles yet. I'm close, but
nice.
So I feel good about that one.
Yeah.
So under 60,000. You can't take out a 5-year loan on a used car. Don't do it. Don't take out a 7-year loan on a used car. We're going to reduce this to like 3 to 4 years. Okay, maybe 5. If you know that it's a super reliable car. If you're driving a Toyota Corolla or something that you know is going to last a long time, 5 years. Sure. In this case, you can, because you're taking on a little bit of a lower term length. You can stretch your budget a little bit. And we're going to go up from 5% of your income to 6% here.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because you're stretching yourself by forcing yourself on a lower term, and you can stretch your budget then a little bit because you're getting out of the loan sooner. And so you're not committing yourself to as long of a payment period. And your goal here is to get out of it quickly so that you're done with your car payments.
Okay. Makes sense. I like it.
Okay. So that's under 60,000, make it 3 to 4 year loan, maybe 5 if you know it's super reliable, and then make sure the payments is 6% of your income or less.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping going, if you buy a used car over 60,000, the length of the term shouldn't be more than 3 years. Like that is the maximum that you should be doing. Because at that point you're risking a lot by buying a car with that many miles on it. There's a lot of maintenance that's going to come up. You don't want to be making payments on this car for more than 3 years.
I bought a truck that's never going to die, though.
Well, that's good. I have been seeing this trend of people buying cars from like the 90s, and they're just like, they just work. Like, they don't have these fancy computers in there. This is like one of my biggest pet peeves is I'm like an old man and like yelling at, like, there's this like Simpsons quote. It's like a Simpsons were famous for having like funny newspaper headlines randomly in different episodes. And one of my favorites is a picture of Grandpa Simpson. He's like shaking his fist and it just says, "Old man yells at cloud." And that's how I feel when I complain about my car, because it has the push to start, which I feel like every car that's made after 2020, 2015 or something has push to start ignitions.
I hate it.
I hate it. And I've had to replace it like 4 times in this car already,
Really?
because either the fob dies or the function just stops. I've never had that issue when I just put a key in and crank it normal.
I have a 2012 truck, so it's still...
Dude, I would kill for that. I would kill for that. Because how much time is it saving anybody to just sit down and push it? Like, I'm fine with taking my keys out, putting it in there, and letting it rip.
Yeah.
This should not die on me. My push to start, I should be able to turn the stinking car on.
I mean, I did have a starter die once, though.
Okay, fine.
In a Wawa parking lot. I couldn't get it out of the Wawa parking lot. I had to get it towed.
Yeah, that happens.
Yep.
All right, so if you're buying a car over 60,000 miles, no more than 3 years, and you can stretch this payment a little bit more to 7% of your income, because you're getting out of this as much quicker. Again, my reasoning for that, to reiterate, is sort of like if you're buying the car in cash, which is it is the ideal. Like, you're saving on interest payments, you're not taking on debt, you're just paying for it outright. But if you're paying for a car in cash, your loan term is 1 month. Like, it's one payment.
Yeah.
And that payment is probably significantly more than 7% of your income. It's probably 30% of your income. If you make $100,000, you buy a $30,000 car. That's a huge car payment, but it's one time and you're done with it forever. Yeah. So when you're shortening the term, you can extend yourself a little bit more in your monthly budget because you're trying to get out of it quicker.
So what do you think? So I bought my truck in 21.
Okay.
I think 90-some thousand miles.
Mm-hmm.
5-year loan term.
Okay.
But I paid it off in 2 years.
Nice.
Good or bad?
I think that's fine.
But should I have just not done the 5-year?
Maybe. I mean, I'm curious.
I just go in with like the attitude of, I don't really care. I'm going to pay this off as quickly as I can anyway.
See, I think you're different than most people, though. I don't think most people do that.
Okay.
I think they take on the longer term because they want the lower monthly payment, and that's what they do. They pay the monthly payment because they want more money to
that makes sense.
Spend on themselves or to do whatever. Like, if you're disciplined, really disciplined, and you're like, I'm going to make extra payments, and I'm also going to continue to save, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, I think that's fine. And we'll talk about that with like the 15-year versus 30-year mortgage, because that's a principle that we'll talk about.
That's a more realistic or I guess concrete example.
So yeah, I think that's fine. And you're out. You don't have a car payment on it anymore. It's still running fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's solid. You need a car. It's one of those things. I wish we didn't have to have cars, but you kind of need one if you have a normal job and you need to get there. Probably need a car. So, more than anything, I think, like, making sure that you're driving something reliable over style. Do your research. Make sure you know what you're buying. And in
2 to 3 years, we might be flying those cars to work.
Might be. Back to the Future said we should be doing it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another important thing, especially if you're buying that older car, I mean, you should have an emergency fund anyways, but you should definitely have an emergency fund if you're driving an older car, because maintenance repairs are going to come up.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to, things will happen inevitably that you need to spend on.
Stupid annual inspection.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you have an emergency fund. These repairs start to accelerate the higher the miles you have. So
I still have to schedule mine. I was very nervous on the way here that I was going to get pulled over.
When was it due?
September.
Dude.
I'm just bad at that.
We've talked about this before, but there was one time I learned my lesson really early on when I had one of my first cars. The registration expired. Let's just say it was September. It was like October 2nd, and I was driving to work, and I got pulled over and got hit with like a $200 ticket.
Yeah.
Because I had And I was like, wow, they take it really seriously that you have to have your registration up to date. I will never let this happen again. Or your inspection up to date, I mean. And
Well,
here
I'm
you
doing
are,
it.
just you're
Playing
admitting
the lottery every
you're
day.
admitting to felonies on this public.
It's not a
podcast.
felony.
It's not.
It can't be a felony. I've never had a felony, and I've gotten pulled over for it before.
All right.
Misdemeanor, if it's even that.
Okay. Yeah, so pay cash if you can, but it's probably not going to happen until you're like well along in your wealth building journey, I would guess. I don't think that it's like the best move to buy $1,000 car because that's all you can afford in cash. And then that thing requires like thousands of dollars in annual repairs and then it dies within a year. Like, I don't think that's the best use of your money.
Unless I was talking to a client the other day, and we put our, the average car, people spend, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, whatever, in the financial plan, and he just laughed and he was like, I've never spent more than $3,000 on a car. And I guess he's just really good at working on cars himself. So
That's different.
if you're good at that,
If you know what you're doing,
yeah,
go for it.
yeah,
I do not.
me neither. If I tried to work on it, I would just destroy it.
Yeah. I have tried doing more. Like I try to do some of those things now because YouTube is so helpful. You can learn almost anything on YouTube.
I got a new lawnmower a couple years ago, ride-on lawnmower, and within the first year, the belt like snapped, and YouTube walked me through replacing the belt.
Right on.
Yeah.
I forget what I had to do something on one of my cars, like the window, something I had to take like the whole door frame off and put this little part in, and I watched this whole YouTube video, and it took me like 3 hours to do it. I had to like take the whole door thing off. And it felt so good when I was done with that. It felt so good. I was really satisfied with that. So
it sounds like if I took on that project, I'd still be working on it right now. So
maybe. Anything else on cars?
I would say the only other thing is the general theory or attitude is that the car, the dealership, or just the car sales, whatever you call the place, because they're not always dealerships. I'm blanking on words right now. They like the financing more,
Right.
which I think is kind of true, but at the same time, I think that you actually have more power than you realize if you walk into a car place with $10,000 or $15,000 like ready to give them that cash. I think it gives you more negotiated. Like, I have this ready to go. I can just walk out the door.
Yeah.
I think that actually gives you more power than a lot of people realize.
The last 2 cars I bought, I went in with the mentality of like, I'm going to negotiate this. And like both times they were like, no, this is the price. Like somebody else wants to buy it. So like, we'll just sell it to them. And I'm like, okay.
The truck, I did that. I didn't negotiate at all. The van, we negotiated down pretty well.
Good for you. I guess I'm not a good negotiator, or I can't call them out on their bluff if they were bluffing, but
they told us we're not willing to go lower, and so I turned to Danielle and I was like, we're out of here, and I stood up and he said, oh wait, let me see, I'm gonna go get my manager real fast.
All right. I'll try it next time. Hopefully I don't have to do it for a while. Yeah, cars. You got to do it. Do your research. Don't like the really expensive car. You don't need something crazy. Go for something reliable. It's a car.
Yeah.
It's going to get beat
It's going
up.
to lose value.
You're driving all over dirty roads. Like, it's not something that's meant to, like, I don't know. People like cars. I think cars are cool, but
yeah,
it seems unnecessary to buy like something crazy expensive.
I think it was probably me, but I'm going to blame it on the kids. Somebody was pulling the trash cans up the driveway, and I have a big line in my truck that's the same height as the trash cans.
Sounds about right. See, it's going to happen. And if you bought a really, really nice truck, like some brand new Ford F-150 or something, you might be a lot more angry about that than you really should be. And the fact that you have, it's not like a cheap car or anything, but like you have a reasonable truck and it's meant to be driven. It's meant to be beat up.
Yeah.
Accept it.
It's meant to have all the garbage I have in there.
Sure. Yeah. All right, now let's talk about buying a house.
Buying a house, another fun one.
Yeah.
Although I would say it is a lot more fun than buying a car. You get to like look at the houses and
It's where you live your life.
For the most part, a fun experience. It can get stressful.
Yeah, for sure. I've never bought a house before. I've made offers on houses before that didn't go through, but that's as close as I've gotten. It's been a tough market, so I am not a homeowner, so I'm going off of some financial wisdom here, not personal experience.
Mm-hmm. I'm on my second house, so I sold my first house, so I don't own two houses.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
But I've been through two buying experiences.
Yeah, sure. I got you. That's good.
Yeah.
So you know what you're talking about.
We'll see.
All right. Principle 1, now it is about the payment. So I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but with the car, don't focus as much on the payment. I mean, we did have payment principles, like restricting how much your monthly payment is to certain things, but not at the expense of lengthening or sacrificing the term length. With a house, there's pretty much two options, 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage.
Getting ready for the 50.
There is the 50. We most certainly do not recommend that. Right?
Sure.
What, you think that might be a good idea?
I could see a scenario where if you decide this is the house I'm going to live in forever, and lowering the payment enough and using a 50.
Yeah. I saw somebody do the math, and I wish I had actually looked it up for this, but to actually get the specific details. But like the amount that they saved on a monthly basis was not ultimately all that substantial especially compared to the amount of interest that they paid over the life of that term.
Yeah.
And like they would literally be like 30 years into that 50-year mortgage, and they've like barely made a dent in their principal due to amortization. Did I say that right?
Amortization.
Amortization. I don't speak English. English is my second language. It's not. So when everybody else has already paid off their house, a 50-year mortgage person's barely made a dent in their principal.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think it's the best idea.
I haven't looked into like, do you know what the difference in payments would be?
It said it on that thing. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't like that substantial, if I recall.
I haven't looked into it really at all to even know.
Yeah. So we're gonna, if we're stuck with, we're not able to generally make these decisions like we do with cars, where it's like, well, let's take out an extra year on the loan. Let's take it to lower that payment more. Most people are buying.
Really do that, yeah.
Most people are doing 30-year mortgages.
Yeah.
So we'll use that as the benchmark here. And the rule of thumb that we tend to tell people is like, make sure that monthly payment, and again, that's everything, not just principal and interest. It's principal and interest and the insurance payment, the PMI if you don't put 20% down. All of that should be 25 to 30% of your income. I like it to err more towards 25%, 30, but 30% being like the maximum that you should really be allocating towards your house, because otherwise you're going to be house rich and cash poor.
Yeah.
And you really don't want that. It's tempting because...
Especially when you're looking around and, for $10,000 more, I could get that house.
Right. And you really want to be disciplined in this decision because you're locked into this for 30 years. So the mortgage, I mean, obviously you can sell and buy, but for all intents and purposes, we're talking about making a wise decision with what you're perceiving to buy for the next 30 years at least. And you want to make a good decision and not be locked into a really bad cash flow situation. So be disciplined, figure out what that payment is, figure out what 25% of your income is, and figure out, okay, well, this is what I can afford on a monthly basis. How do I get there?
Yeah.
What's the house price? How much down payment do I have set aside to be able to do this? And what are interest rates like right now?
How much should I need? Or if I want to buy a house for $500,000, I need this. So I'm not ready to buy a house.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that you can calculate in your mind. Like if you need to buy a house right now and you really want to, well, then you're limited with what do I have for the down payment? Then what can I afford?
Yeah.
If you're like trying to project into the future and like, I really want this kind of house, how much do I need to save to get to that point where I can have a monthly payment that's within that window?
Yeah. Yep.
Down payment. I don't think 20% is necessary for your first house. It's traditional wisdom, but I don't think it's necessary.
I did 5% for my first house.
I do think any future houses, once you've built up equity in your first house and you have a house to sell
Yeah.
that you've built equity in, then 20% kind of becomes mandatory and bare minimum moving forward. But for your first house, as long as that monthly payment is within 25%, I think you can be pretty flexible with how much your down payment is.
Yeah, I agree.
Because even if you're adding PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, if you don't know what that is, you have to have mortgage insurance if you're not putting 20% down. It makes sense. Was that a result of the financial crisis that they started doing that, or
probably? I don't know.
I don't know either. But
I don't remember when it started.
That would be my assumption.
Yeah.
That if you don't put 20% down, it's a risk. It's more risky for the banks, which makes sense. That you don't have as much stake in it, so they're going to require you to add some insurance to that mortgage. Yeah. Which could be a few $100s a month potentially.
My first house, it was 70.
Okay. Yeah, I forget if there's a percentage of the house price.
Yeah, I don't know how they come up with it.
I don't know how they do it, but so I think 20% is a good thing to shoot for, but I don't think it's necessary for your first house.
Right. Agreed.
Good. So we agree
on something this episode.
Finally. Second houses and beyond, yes, 20%. You should probably have the equity by that point to do it.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy a house, you shouldn't be looking to sell that quick, anyways. Like, do you? Yeah. No. Okay. All right.
Well,
tell me.
I mean, we bought in 2017. We bought in 2017 and sold in 22.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say is like
okay.
Minimum of 5 years in a house before you sell it again.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Because I think that gives you enough time with that word again.
Amortization.
Yeah. To build at least enough equity
it really all depends on the market.
Of course. Yeah. So but just as a general rule though, I think 5 years is a good like minimum to stay in a house before you sell and buy another one. Do you remember how much equity you had in the house?
Well, yeah, but it was almost all because of the amount that the house appreciated.
Got it.
We didn't make that. We didn't dent our the amount of the mortgage that much.
Okay.
We got like 5 times the amount that we actually paid off.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, it's more than the appreciation that it's not a guarantee by any stretch, but it tends to happen with houses that they.
Oh yeah, I mean it depends. If we did the same thing in 2006,
well,
or like I think from 1990 to like 2000, there wasn't a whole lot of appreciation in house values. So yeah, it really depends on the market.
Yeah. So just be aware of that if you're buying a second house. Like if you're trying to sell your first house and buy a second house, make sure you have some like that you can have equity in this, that you're walking away with proceeds from the sale to be able to use for a down payment.
Yeah. Figure that out before you start shopping for your second house.
Yeah. You're probably aware of that. Like if you probably have some idea of how much your house is worth. Zillow is a helpful tool just to give you some close estimate, but
Zillow was way under with our first house.
Oh yeah.
Our realtor came in and was like, you can get way more than this.
Nice. Another emergency fund thing is like don't drain your emergency fund as the down payment. You should have an emergency fund set up and then a down payment fund. It's tough, but you don't want to buy a house and have no cash anymore.
We bought our first house, and within the first 3 weeks, I remember I was out doing yard work. Danielle was too, but she went in and she was taking a shower and I was finishing up. And I looked in the garage and just saw a shower coming down into the garage from the house.
What in the world?
The shower, like something disconnected and there was water running into the wall and down into our garage.
Oh my
so
goodness.
yeah, we needed an emergency fund.
Yes. Yeah, those things are going to happen. So make sure you have cash to be able to pay for things because it's going to happen. Again, we've touched on it already, but the 30-year mortgage is probably better than the 15-year mortgage because like you said with the car, you have the flexibility to, if cash is tight, you can make the 30-year mortgage payment work easier than a 15-year mortgage payment. And you have the option to pay more on the 30-year mortgage to pay it off in 15 years if that's your desire. The only thing that I can think of is if you have like the opportunity for like significant interest rate savings on a 15-year loan as opposed to the 30-year one, and you definitely are within that 25% of your income window at the 15-year mortgage, then maybe that would be worth doing. But I think for most people, 30 years is probably the better option.
Yeah, right now the difference is just like 0.8%.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Which is not nothing.
Average. Yeah, it's not nothing, but you're still vastly decreasing that monthly payment.
Yeah.
Going with a 30.
Yeah. So you can always pay more on your 30-year mortgage, but you can't pay less on your 15-year mortgage. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but you're not going to have your house for very long.
You're right. Home ownership's not always or automatically like the best investment, the best idea. You're like renting is a good option for a lot of people.
Yeah. When things go wrong, it's real nice to call a landlord.
Well, yeah. People like because I am a renter and I've talked to real estate agents when I was looking into buying a house, and they love to be like, "You're just throwing your money away. Let's start building your equity. And true, I'm not. My rent payment isn't building equity in anything, but it is giving my family a place to live.
Right.
But when you buy a house, everything that you pay for with a house, not all of that is building equity. A lot of that isn't.
Right.
You're not building equity when you have to buy a new fridge. You're not building equity on the interest payment on your mortgage. You're not building equity with the insurance. Like, there's a lot of costs lumped into home ownership that don't build equity. So,
and if you buy in a 2006 type market and you're paying off your mortgage, you could still be going underwater in equity. Like, you're not building equity. It just keeps losing value.
Right. So you have to figure out what's best for you in a particular season. If you can afford it, then homeownership is often a good investment, and something that if you want to build roots and stay there for a long time, yeah, absolutely. But it's not just like you have to do it as fast as possible and then you end up making a kind of a bad decision. You don't want that. You want to make the right decision with this purchase.
Yeah. You also don't want to buy a house that you can't afford to furnish, because then you just walk around in an empty house.
Yeah. You don't want that.
Yeah.
All right. We are running out of time already. So we're going to briefly touch on student loans now. Anything else on the house before we do that?
I think we're good.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Student loans are another big thing. This one is a little tough because most people get into their student loans when they're like 18 years old. And
like the oldest, I think I made all of those decisions and I was still 17.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening that's under that age, take heed. But if you've already made those decisions, there's not much you can do. But maybe for parents that are considering their kids and how to think through this for their kids, it's an important one, because you graduate college and you're entering the real world, and suddenly your student loan payments start kicking in. And it's like, whoa, where did this come from? That certainly happened to me. I was not ready for that, and I was like, man, welcome to the real world. This is what life is like after college. So, one of the one of the principles that I feel like I would want to abide by would be don't borrow more for your education than you expect to make your first year in your job.
Yeah, I think that's a good principle, but it also depends on employment market.
Sure.
Because I did that. I looked up what a business major makes first year out of college, and it was like the exact amount that I would be taking out in student loans. And then I hit the job market in 2011. It still wasn't great.
Sure.
And I was making like a third of what the average was in 2007.
But I still think you made a good decision with the degree that you chose and that it was, even though it didn't end up happening, you were still set up for good success when the market turned and you were able to get a job.
That makes sense, yeah.
Whereas I love my wife. She has a degree in theater, and thankfully she didn't take out any student loans. It was all paid for, so there's nothing to worry about there. But I assume a lot of her fellow students did take out student loans, and I can't imagine that it was very cheap. And I can't imagine.
What are they doing now?
Exactly. That would be a really difficult thing to come right out of college and make that money your first year right away.
Yeah.
That would be really difficult.
It's like me saying I'm going to major in Major League Baseball and wanting to just get signed by the Phillies.
Yeah, exactly. So there's somebody that we've talked to that I've seen people take out hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans and make like less than 100 out of college and, get a doctorate, and they're not making like, if you're pursuing higher education for a really specific purpose, that's good, but you should probably make sure that you can actually get a job that will pay you what you're worth.
Worth it.
Yeah. So there's just big mistakes that you could make by taking on hefty student loans that you ultimately don't get rewarded for when you're out in the real world.
Yeah.
I think the school name temptation is not worth like going to a community college and then transferring to a better school can save a ton of money, and you still end up with a degree from the one school, but you saved a lot of money by not going there for all 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. But I also wouldn't trade the 4 years I had at the school.
Sure.
Like it was a great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not nothing, but, college isn't meant for partying, Logan.
I made so many good friends, friends that I still to this day have.
Yeah.
Good connections. I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right. That's fine. And you still made a good decision with I'm not saying that you made a bad one. This episode is not what you don't do what Logan did, because I think that was a fine decision.
It was fun being 7 hours away from home.
Sure. Yeah, I got you.
Stop looking at me like that.
Dude, you're fine. Everything's fine. Anything else on this? I'm trying to look at my notes here real quick.
I can't read my notes, though.
Parent Plus loans. Do you know what these are?
No.
So this is like parents taking on the responsibility for the loans of their kids, and they're like much higher interest rates. So like almost double what if the student was just taking on the responsibility. So much higher interest rates, and they often don't have like limits to how much you can borrow. So like you could technically take out more and more and more and more and more. And you're a 50-year-old parent taking on this responsibility, and you're locked in through your retirement years paying like hefty student loans for your kid because you're responsible, not them. Yeah. So it can derail a retirement plan pretty quick. So we wouldn't encourage that.
Would not.
And I think in some, like, I don't think student loans are bad. Like, I think I think it's actually a good introduction into the real world. Like, sure, it'd be better if you didn't have them at all. But I'm not like, let's just forgive student loans across the board. Like, I think it's a good experience for somebody to get a job out of college and take on that responsibility right away.
You made a decision, and now you're rightfully paying for it.
Yeah. So do it. Yeah. Like, just own it and figure out a plan to pay it off. Yeah.
And I would say you should try to hit these hard as hard as you can early.
Yeah. Yeah. I even feel like during the COVID years, there was all the deferrals. Like, I feel like it made sense to keep making payments to, you got free payments basically, like, where you didn't have to pay interest on them. Right. So take advantage of those things and not just like keep delaying, because eventually it's gonna hit you one way or another, and you might not be prepared for it, because all of a sudden you've gotten used to, I don't have any student loan payments, and then boom, there they come. You don't want to be in that situation either. So don't let that hang over your head. Just get into it. Anything else on student loans? We had a lot more, but we are very much running out of time. That always happens on these episodes.
Yeah, no, I think we're good.
Okay. We can hit more of this later. We'll do a whole episode on student loans, maybe. But I don't think there's anything else really to cover.
Yeah.
Those are the three big decisions. There's more big decisions that you make in life, but those are probably the three big ones that can really help make or break your plan in one way or another. And we just don't want you to be stuck in heavy debt that has high payments, and you've got tough cash flow situation for long periods of time.
Right.
Because student loans can last for decades. Obviously, your mortgage lasts for decades. Car payments.
The nice thing about the mortgage is it's kind of free of inflation worries.
Sure. Yeah. So that's an example of a good debt.
Yeah.
Productive debt. That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the productive debt.
I think student loans can be too, because you're paying for something that will get you a job that will pay you money.
Yeah.
So
So it's not the tangible asset as much, but you're financing something that is going to make you more money.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. But it can also be a very bad debt. If you get a silly degree that's not worth much, that costs a lot of money, that's not a very productive debt. So yeah. All right. That's all that I had. Anything else?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say just the last thing is make sure that when you're making these decisions, you kind of just said it, but that they align with your values. I think I would have to go back and look, but I think when Danielle and I bought this second house, we probably overreached a little bit compared to these numbers, but we both really very much enjoy hospitality, hosting people, stuff like that. So it was important to us that we get a good spot like that. And now we're definitely within that rule of thumb.
I'm going to come over tonight then. Hang out for dinner, okay?
All right. You do that. I won't be there, but you do that.
Okay.
Danielle won't either, so enjoy time with the babysitter.
Nice.
So yeah, that's all I had to say.
All right. Thanks for listening. Tune in again next time. We may are we having an episode next week? It's Thanksgiving next week.
We're gonna try hard to have an episode.
Okay.
It's gonna be different. Well, bear with us.
You heard it here first. Be on be on the lookout for next week's episode. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
God bless. Investment advisory services offered through Stonecrop Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This material is intended for informational purposes only.